Welcome everyone to our 25th episode. This is a space where I want to empower you all to be relationship experts. I'm Kimia Shafzadi, founder of Love Story, and I have a master's in clinical behavioral psychology specializing in relationships. I published papers in psychology journals on relationships, and I'm happily married for almost 5 years and have helped over 100 people with their relationships. So anything I can provide value to you guys today, I will do my best to. This is a space where you can request to speak at any time, ask any question, share any story, make any comment, anything that will help give you value. That's what we're here for. So feel free to do that. I just have to see it, and I'm happy to accept the speaking role. So yeah, let's jump right in. So today's topic is healthy breakups. I usually don't see the word healthy with the word breakup. So this is kind of an interesting title that I chose. And the reason I chose it is because I think there is a healthy way to address breakups. You know, they happen sometimes, and having a good handle on it really helps, because some people can get really trapped in loops that take so many years of their lives away. And yeah, in all transparency, I had someone approach me, and it was after one of my workshops, and they were out of the game for 10 years. They went through a breakup when they were about 20, 21, and they were just out of the game for that long. And they just came up to me after the workshop, and they're like, I think I'm ready to go back in. And I was like, I think you are. You're definitely ready to go back in. So some people can easily take 10 years of their lives away just recovering from a breakup, or it can even be recovering from something else, not relationship related. It could be recovering from grief, that of a parent or a loved one, and that's hard to kind of process and be ready to be with someone else. Or just someone might think about, they want to be the best person for their partner, and they don't feel like they're that person yet, so they specifically prevent themselves from getting into a relationship because they think that, oh no, like I'm not the best version of myself, so I'm not ready. So they personally hold themselves back. Or they make very easily make generalizations that, oh, all guys are like this, or all girls are like this. And one of the big things I have to do is demystify that girls and guys both feel the same way, and they get hurt by their partner, and then they can generalize that to the entire species of women or men. And it's honestly, it's very similar what I hear on either side. And I think it takes a while for us to really believe that and peel back the layers. It's possible that women might outwardly show it more, but the feelings both experience, maybe guys don't show it as much, but they feel it. We're all human, and there's so much similarity between men and women. They actually really tried to study this in psychology, because there's so much I don't know, in the media, that men and women are so different. And even some books about men are from Mars, women are from Venus. And so they researched this, and they saw that there's pretty much no differences between men and women, even in areas that you think there would be. Like the slight differences that they found, that I remember, were women were a slight bit better at mathematics, and guys were a slight bit better at spatial stuff. And it's like that could be related to guys growing up with Legos, for example. And so even those things are very slight. So we really have to take a step back and realize that it might not be all girls or all guys or whatever the sexuality or gender. It could just be the quality of the person that we were going after that wasn't maybe great, or we didn't know what we wanted, so we didn't go after a person that was a good match. There's a whole load of reasons why someone would want to break up, and it could be at different varying points. Like you could be dating someone, and everything up to marriage, where you would get to that point. So we're going to try and give as much information as we can on each of these different points, and we're also going to practice the skills we learn with some Reddit questions, which are always fun to do. So let's start with knowing the valuable thing of how to break up in a healthy way. So as a starting point, you need to first figure out what you want in a partner. And most people don't do that. They just go in blind. And the law of proximity is what's at play. So the law of proximity is, and they did studies on this, where, for example, on a college campus, you are more likely to fall for someone who's less number of buildings away, less number of floors away, and less number of doors away. So how close literally physically they are to you is the higher likelihood of you and them getting into a relationship. And so that's why it's very common for us to fall for someone in our school or in our workplace or at the gym, if that's where we always go, because we're frequently in that place. It's just so easy to bump into them or have a conversation. It's effortless. But the big thing here is, just because the law of proximity is working, it doesn't mean you found a high quality partner. And that's why it's so easy to fall into relationships with the law of proximity and kind of figure out like, how did I get here? Or like, why am I not happy? Or I guess everybody's like this, or I guess this is what relationships are like. And that's not true. You can have amazing relationships where you're attracted to someone and they have really great qualities and they treat you well and they're cheeky and fun and like responsible and everything you want in them. That's very achievable. And I really want to put that out there that that's possible. Another thing that, yeah, okay, so I won't jump the gun. So first, you need to know what you're looking for in a partner. And one of the best ways to do that, even scientifically, is writing it down. It can get overwhelming if it's all in your head, and you might think, oh yeah, I'm confident, I know what it is. But then as soon as you fall for someone attractive, you can make excuses for them really quickly. You can be like, oh well, I didn't really want that, or what was that I even wanted? It's so easy to kind of wish-wash it when you're in your head. But as soon as you get it on paper, it becomes more objective and external. And if you're personally not in a relationship right now, this is the absolute best time to write it down. Think of all the preferences you have. Don't hold back. All the must-haves you want, all the deal breakers you don't want. Write it all down. If something is like, on the fence, you can put it as a red flag. If it's a little fence, maybe a yellow flag. Whatever you need to kind of capture exactly what you're looking for in a partner. And one of the things I like to say with this one is, for example, if I really want a white Tesla, I start seeing white Teslas everywhere because my brain filters my environment to show me the thing that I want. And it's a really helpful tool. It's called the RAS, the reticular activating system in your brain, which is awesome that we have that. But it only works if we get super specific with what we're looking for, and it can filter out all the other people and really highlight the people that would be better for you. Another important thing to highlight is we can very naturally, if we had parents that didn't have the best relationships, or there's been a lot of unhealthy relationships around us, it's very natural for us to fall for like people that are not good for us and are low quality, because that's what we're used to. That's our norm. That's what we've observed around us. So someone like that, unfortunately, seems attractive to us. And that if you realize that, you are surrounded by a lot of unhealthy relationships, or your parents had an unhealthy one, that's a really important one to look out for. And the best advice I can give for that one is, if you realize that that might relate to you, then you got to realize that if you find someone that does seem high quality and they, don't have the typical issues that someone that you're attracted to would have, you may not have those super strong feelings with them immediately, or feel butterflies, or feel that, I don't know, chase, or that normal feeling that you normally have, because this is different. And it's your brain has to take a little bit to understand that, wow, this is what healthy looks like, because it's going to look different and it's going to feel different. And with time, you'll see that you got to be attracted to them. Like, don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. Don't get with someone you're not attracted to, but someone that you find attractive who is also high quality and, knows how to have healthy relationships. That person is going to stick it out, and you're going to realize how valuable they are and how glad you are that you pick this over, just someone that you can easily fall for with a law of proximity, or, they're just attractive because they're hard to get, and, they're just playing games and things like that. So it's really cool to have that distinction in your head, that just because you might not feel that super strong feeling you do, it doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. It can just mean that you're not used to healthy patterns of behavior, and it's just going to take a little bit. And just give yourself that little bit of time to figure that out and make sure you're with the right person. And if you realize you're with the other one, you can now notice what unhealthy patterns look like. So yeah, first step, figure out what you want, write it down. And then if you realize that you're in a relationship and your partner is not treating you well, or, they have a deal breaker, you haven't communicated it clearly until now, you want to let them know that this is what you need from them. And, or, if they're treating you really badly, tell them that and say, this is what I need from you. I don't like this behavior is unacceptable. This is what I need from you. Try that a few times. And honestly, if they're not acknowledging what they're doing to you and then showing no signs of growth or taking you seriously, then you need to make that decision in yourself that, you're done. No one else can tell you you're done besides you. No one else can tell you to break up. Only you are the person that can decide that for yourself on your part of the relationship. Same with psychologists. No psychologist should have the power to tell you that. Usually they're just going to fight for the relationship if you're talking about if you're in couples therapy, and it's only when you say you're done that you're done. And then they should respect that, and we go from there of figuring out how to communicate that and do what we need to do. Because sometimes you might be living with them and you might have a lease with them, and it's even a logistical thing to find out how will you even coordinate that, or can you even support yourself financially, and getting those support systems in to make sure that you can live the life that you want to live. It's important to think about these things even before moving in with someone, to just make sure that if anything goes wrong, like, you can be okay, and you're not tied to someone because of finances. So those things are important, and realize, if someone comes to me and they're like, I'm not sure if I should break up or not, things like that, um, you know, I would just help them go through like all their pros and cons, figure out what they're looking for, and only if they come to the decision of breaking up is that the right choice. I can't make that choice for someone else. So again, this could be at very different stages that someone can do this assessment, in the dating phase, boyfriend, girlfriend phase, fiance, marriage. And, there's no really secret formula of how to do it. It's just, it's best to do it in person, honestly, with a conversation. The earlier you are in the relationship, the less details you can give about, why it's not working, and just try and make it quick, honest, in person if you can, that's best. And then it's, as a general rule, healthy to cut ties with them after you break up. A lot of things can get really messy and difficult if we just hold on to that communication. They can, try and manipulate you or get you back, or, be like, let's stay friends. And, all of these can just, I don't know, also tempt you to go back into that situation. And if there's no growth, you really, like, you want to kind of turn a new leaf and be able to now find someone who is much better suited for you. And it's really important, like, when you do break up, figure out what it was in them that wasn't right, because you don't want to make the same mistake again. You don't want to keep making these mistakes. You definitely want to learn from each one and get better and better, and get high, like, find a more high quality person each time. So one of the things I like to say is, if I give you guys two options and I'm like, are you more likely to find a high quality person if you assess 5 people or if you assess 50 people? And have a think about that for a second before I give you the answer. So it's the one, if you assess 50 people, you're more likely to find a high quality person. Like, out of 50.
What is assess?
Yeah. What is assess? Great question. So assess in the best form is, what you're looking for, you've written it down, and you don't even have to, be in a relationship with them to even assess them. Like, for example, if you're, just an easy one, if you want kids and it's a deal breaker if someone doesn't want kids, that's something that you can bring up at the very beginning. If someone also wants kids, they'll straight up tell you, I also want kids, that's amazing, and your bond will get even closer. But if someone doesn't want kids, then that's going to come up at the beginning. It's tough, it sucks, but you won't be wasting any more time with someone that doesn't have the same things that you want. And it's much easier to find that out at the early stages. So
it's the equivalent of giving someone a chance as a romantic partner, even if it's a very small chance.
Yeah, exactly. Having that conversation with them, kind of, assessing everything you can that's available to you. You can look at their profile, that might reveal some things about them. You can talk to them on the phone, all the questions you ask. All of those things reveal things about a person. So, and the best way to find out something is to ask directly and not assume. Even as someone who's got a master's in, behavioral psychology of humans,
You can look at their booty.
you can look at their booty.
You can assess the booty.
You can assess the booty, but you can be wrong when assessing the booty. So you don't. I still ask, because I can make an ass of myself in Assumption Alley. If you were here last week, we don't want to be in Assumption Alley. We want to, be on an innovation highway, which is asking people directly what's going on, so we can make good decisions. Absolutely. Thanks for highlighting that question with what is even assessment. So yeah, helpful to know. Assess a lot of people, that's good, and only go for the best. And I try and highlight this as well. Like, if you're still single right now, like, this is such a beautiful moment, because right now you have the shot to change your life forever. Like, the rest of your life is still out there. And if you find a high quality person that you're attracted to, the rest of your life is set. But if you, get shackled with someone that's really low quality, well, hopefully they're willing to grow with you and, like, improve and stuff. So if you're willing to grow, it's just like, imagine like a snail like trying to move upwards. Like, that's the pace we're going at across the years to, like, improve the quality of the partner and the relationship, and it's a slow process. So you can just skip the queue right now if you find a high quality person. It's the biggest bang for buck thing you can do for yourself. And even in the couples, working on the relationship, you need both people to be willing to grow for that to even work. Like, a psychologist can't make someone improve on their relationship if they don't want to. So that also is a requirement of anything improving. So yeah, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Let's see. So this one. So let's say now you did the hard part. You broke up. You were honest about it. You did it quickly, depending on this, in person, depending on how, close you are to them. Oh, Django, I see a request. I'll just quickly bring you up. Awesome. At any point, if you want to speak, go ahead. And is there anything you want to say right now before we go into it?
Yes. So does this also pertain to, like, for example, I'm 24. We can get into this potentially later. But I'm not immediately looking for a long-term situation because I'm 24, and I'm gonna be very honest. I'm trying to get my experience up. like, I'm gonna be very honest, and I think you can do that with one person, but like, also that's one person. Like, like, there's how many billions of people on the world. Like, you're not gonna learn everything from one person. You just don't. So
Yeah, and if you believe that and you are not ready to settle down, that's really good awareness. There are people that, are willing to settle down, but not everyone, and everyone has their own pace, and that's okay. And, if you're not ready right now, it's good to know when you think you might be ready, at what age, or whatever criteria you feel like you have for yourself, and be very honest and transparent with the person that, whatever you want to define the relationship is, because it's very easy for someone to get into a relationship and think, oh my God, we're going to be together. And this is all towards that. Even if they don't say it, they assume like, oh my God, if I'll be great enough, he's the one, but, up front, if you're like, hey, look, like this isn't going to last. I'm telling you up front, nothing you do is going to change my mind. This is like, I'm looking at it from a purely experience point of view. If you're down, let's go ahead. If you're not, cool to know. If you have questions, happy to answer. And then, you might lose some people that way, but the people that stay will be right on the money and know what's going on and not pressure you or not make you feel bad, or, all of the things that can come with misinterpretation or miscommunication, or, feel like their life, I don't know, they can throw and be like, oh, I gave you this much of my life and things like that. And it can get ugly. So
I understand that for sure. I definitely went through a phase, especially when I was younger, of like being able to like let people go because like we weren't like, we weren't on the same timing, for lack of a better term. And that's just something, as I kind of got older and realized, oh, let them go faster. Like, rejection is a good thing. These like things not working out is a good thing. You don't have to waste any more time on these people. And maybe I just look at it from a very almost like calculating kind of way. We can also get into that later, but I definitely do think that for the most part, like with any situation, like both parties know when it has about run its course, but usually someone or both of them don't want to let go of it until way later, where it's that much worse. And at least, and that's from my experience. That's from my young self watching my friends get into situations and then things blow up in their faces. Like just seeing it over and over again just really has me thinking like that, at least.
wow, so many good stuff you brought up that I want to cover. Okay, so two things that I hope I can remember. So one is you highlighted the timeline. You're right, and I didn't talk about that, and I'm so glad you brought it up. You can have all of your preferences met by someone, all your must-haves, all your deal breakers, but your timeline is different, and your timeline alone can break someone up. So I also, whenever I take someone's preferences when they're looking and they're single, I take down their timeline, and I'm so glad you brought that up. So if you want kids, I would ask, like, when is the ideal time you want kids? When's the earliest? When's the latest? Do you want a gap between marriage and kids? How long do you want to be engaged? How long do you want to be in an exclusive relationship? How long do you want to date someone? And I usually work backwards because sometimes people's timelines are off, and they'll be like, I want to have kids when I'm, I don't know, 30, but then I want to be married for 2 years, engaged for one, get to know them for 3 years, be dating for like 6 months, and then I don't know, they're like 27, and it's like, well, if you wanted to do that, you'd be 24. And so that's a really helpful thing, and then you can adjust it to whatever you want, but it just helps you see it logically, and it also helps you have really upfront conversations with someone else at the beginning to make sure that you both have similar timelines. It's so valuable. Oh, I see another hand. So that was one of the things I wanted to say. That was really awesome that you brought up. The other thing, oh my God, I think I've just gone blank. Okay, I'll let Lady Wings come up, and I'll maybe remember the other thing I was going to say. Happy to have you on, Lady Wings.
Thank you, and I hope all is well. Thank you for having this space. And I have one question, and if I start to cry in the middle of asking it, just go about your business. I'm a girl, and I hate when my girly side shows. How do you start to trust people again. A quick story, my ex-husband kidnapped my son when he was a couple weeks old. I got my kid back, raised him, but in his whole life I dated once, and I really think it's a trust issue with me. So how would I start trusting people without, I don't know, making them run like a bat out of hell? If I know somebody likes me, I'll do something really stupid, so they'll never talk to me again. That's a defense mechanism.
Oh, it's really cool that you realize it's a defense mechanism. That's a really solid
It's better
awareness.
than kicking their ass because they'll never get a date that way.
Yes, so you figured that out. Love it. That's step one. Can't kick their ass. Number two, it's great that you
Totally
can see
can
that
kick
you're.
their ass. Maybe that's why I can't find a date. They already know that. No, I'm sorry.
No, all good, all good. Yeah, and you know that you can very easily self-sabotage because it's,
Totally,
it's.
subconsciously, totally. Even
Mhm.
consciously sometimes. But yeah.
Yeah. And so I think the starting point as well, writing down all the things that you want in a partner. What does a good partner even look like? Your perception of what a partner is
What he
so
looks like or
distorted.
the attributes? Or what he looks like?
But all of it. I want all
James
the
Bond, no.
physical
The
stuff,
original. Sorry.
all the
You just made my
values.
imagination go way crazy.
Go
I'm
wild.
writing this down. So what they look
Great.
like, what their attributes are, what kind of.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything you want, the age range, there's so many
I
things
get
you
to the
can
point where it's like,
consider.
I just want you to leave me alone. I don't know.
Yeah, and how frequently do you want them to interact with you, or do you need time alone? Does it take you? Of course, it's going to take you to build that trust. How much time do you need? What do they need to kind of show in themselves to show that they are high quality? You don't want to make the same mistakes
What if
again.
nothing's wrong with them and it's just me and my trust issue? You guys, it's a really general question. I'll let it go back to you guys in a second.
No, this is really
I dated
good
once in
stuff.
32 years, okay? So there's no wonder I'm such a bitch. But I'm used to it. I mean, I like me. God likes me. Nobody else has to. But I really don't want to be. You can't yell at a football game by yourself and just have it not sound nuts.
No, it's fine. I think it's fine.
My kid used to crawl under the table. I'd scare him so much.
Oh,
Yeah, but he turned out well. Thank you,
yeah,
Lord.
no, I'm sure he did. He had a great mom. One of the points I wanted to bring up that I had written down for this space is a lot of people wait to make sure they're perfect before they go and have a relationship.
Oh, hell no. I'm sorry.
Good. Good.
I fell off a Navy ship, seriously, and landed on my head. So forgive me for interrupting.
That's definitely me. I'm definitely waiting for what it's worth. So,
Oh, I recognize that voice. Who is that? Oh, don't be quiet now.
Django, sorry.
No, you're great.
No, I love this conversation. So I actually bring up this point because a lot of people might feel like they're not good enough or they have to work through things before they're ready for a relationship. And, that can really hold you back. And you don't have to be perfect to get into a relationship. You can figure that out
You
on the
already
go.
lost if you're trying to be perfect in the first place.
Yeah, no, I know.
Only whoever you believe in is the only one that's supposed to be perfect, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people hold themselves back. I know someone that
I was told all my life I'd grow up and amount to nothing. But I'm about to shock the living shit out of my mom. I'm a stand-up comedian. She don't even know it, and an ordained minister. Yes.
There you go. And for example, Django, I heard you unmuted.
Sorry. See, what if you're not trying to be perfect, but you just know you need to be better? Like, I don't know. Like,
Your best friend will love you in spite of your idiosyncrasies. That's why they say marry your best friend.
That was a good answer.
None of my every time I fall for one of my best friends, it does not work out. Meanwhile, I am pretty much 100 as far as talking to women who are taken, but that is a different problem in of itself.
Because they're safe.
I got you. This is an interesting point. I'd love to. So, I think if you feel like you can be better in all those things, like Lady Wing said, you can be better with your partner because there could be no end to how long you want to take to be better. If you have like specific goals or something, maybe that could be justified.
What's wrong with the way you do, just the way you are?
Exactly.
I mean, come on, man.
I think you're great as is.
The only time it becomes a problem is when we start blaming our shit on other people. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I swear? My bad.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I'm actually really curious. You brought up you fall for your best friends and it never works out. And so I'm curious.
I don't have best friends. I was in the military. It was not my fault I got married. No. They made me do it.
Oh no, that's not a good situation. Django, you said you fall for example, easily can fall for best friends and it doesn't work out. And I'm curious if that's just, the law of proximity working where, they're just around so much. But
100%. 100% is the law of proximity. Now, granted, there have been a couple girls who I've been close with or had like very, very I guess deep and intertwined relationships with, if you will, where I was attracted to them off jump, and we both knew that, and they kind of reject. They didn't immediately reject me, and I was young and I was dumb. Just some of the stuff was from when I was 18, 19, and so I'm dealing with that, and because they didn't blatantly like they literally never told me no, but they never told me yes. We were still flirting with
Damn,
each other
so
because
spoiled from
we're
jump.
dumb
No, I'm sorry.
kids. So like we were all flirt with each other and whatnot, and things get confusing because then you have one situation where one person is like trying to make out with the other person, and then one person has no idea what's going on. That was me most of the time, and then you have other situations where I'm aware of shit, and then they're like not
Player.
trying to do anything, and then I'm like, damn, I'm getting played, and then the whole friend group gets mad at me because I'm trying to fuck up the friend group and do my own shit.
You out
But
there
then,
having all kinds of fun, dude. You playing.
so I mean, it's just like
You smiling
I
from
don't
ear
know.
to ear. You was having fun.
No, no, real talk. Like whenever it's a girl who I'm friends with, it can't work out. It just doesn't. Like if I'm any type of,
Notice the one that you didn't like at first. Those are probably the ones that you're gonna
Wait.
end up
Lady
liking.
Wings, let's.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm bad. My bad.
Oh, good.
I
Go
don't know. It's just like if I'm friends with you, there's no way it's happening. Like it's just no way, because I don't know. It just never does. Like I actually sometimes to this point, I actually try to make it a point for the most part to not be friends with people and to purposely keep distance, because if I'm into you and then we end up becoming friends, I know I'm taking that L like 101 times out of 100 times. So I would rather not take that L and actually, have a chance to do anything. So I will purposely put distance between us, whether that's real distance and natural, like say we got work or school or projects, hanging out with other people, or artificial, me intentionally avoiding you and making sure we're not in the same places at the same time and things like that. Whether or not it's artificial or natural, I will do things so that we can't get close, because at least as a young dude, I get close to these chicks, and eventually, some comes up. It's like, oh, I'm into you, and they're like, nah, this is done. I don't see you as a friend, my little brother or my big brother. I'm just like, nah, I'm good on all that. Nah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm alright on that, because that's not what I want. That's
Yeah.
And but at the same time, because of that, I know if I'm into a chick, I cannot become her friend. No,
Yeah.
I cannot become her friend until after we're already a thing, and especially after we already hook up, because otherwise, no, it's not happening. It's not
Okay, Django. So with this one, I think you're right. And with the situations that you've gone through with your history, it's been so confusing, and you've been burned, and you've been put in the friend zone. And a high quality person wouldn't
I
play
don't believe in the friend zone personally. You want to know why I don't believe in it? You
Tell
just
me.
step out. You just step out. Oh, you push in the friend zone. All right, you just walk away.
No,
The
that's
fuck.
good. Yeah,
But
no, I'm for
because
that.
of that, I'd rather not deal with that in the first place. Which is why, at least these days, I'm way more straightforward. I'm like, yo, I'm into you. You with
Yeah,
it or not? If they say
that's
no, I'm gone. I don't care what you call me, because people always want to get off. I've noticed people get tight when I tell them what it is, and then they're not on my wavelength with things. So I said, okay, that's fine. You're gonna be over here, I'm gonna be over here, right? And then they get angry. And I used to get tight when I was younger, but I really did. I really used to get tight, but now I just let them. Because what's the point? You having a bitch fit, being all petty, calling me all types of curse words and this and that and the third, it's not helping me get anything. It's surely not helping you either. So I'm gonna be over here. I'm gonna continue staying myself over here. But that's how I do it. I don't think it's completely healthy, because I don't know. People want relationships, but I don't know. I just find that this is how I have to navigate it. So
I'd love to talk on this topic. So I think that how you've learned through time, I think it's okay. And I think it's great that you say upfront when you're interested in someone, you lay it out. And if they're interested back, you move on with them. And if they're not interested, then you don't pursue friendship, because you know that you are attracted to them, and that's not healthy for that relationship to be a friendship. And if they're making you feel bad for that, all of those signs are signs of a low quality person that you deserve a lot better. So you need to keep doing what you're doing. I would encourage you to keep going. And with the right person who's a high quality person and likes you back the same way, you guys are going to be fireworks. And I really hope you don't miss that opportunity feeling like maybe you're not ready or you're not good enough. Because if you get that 10 out of 10, please go all in. I'm not worried about these people that you're not becoming friends with when they're not attracted to you. That's a good thing. But if you pass up on a 10 out of 10, Django, because you're like, I'm 24 and I'm not ready or something, that's the one I'm going to be like, oh my God, don't let them go. They're amazing. They're really high quality. So I would say keep doing what you're doing and keep looking for that 10 out of 10, and don't settle, and realize all of these things that you're going through with these people treating you like that are signs of low quality traits you don't want in a partner. Yeah. So I think that was a really good conversation. I really appreciate you bringing it up. Another thing that I wanted to talk about that you brought up earlier, I remembered what it was. And it was, a lot of people might figure out that, they're going to break up anyway, but they just stay together. And then, and then they break up later. And it's the fear of being alone. And, that's really unhealthy if you've both mentally checked out and you're still in the relationship because you are lonely or you don't want to start over again and things like that. And so that's why it's when you guys come to that realization by yourself or together, it's best to end things quickly and cut ties in general, and then start fresh with someone else. And so a lot of people, rebound can come into this conversation. So if someone asks me, hey, like, what do you think of rebound? I think it's not a rebound if you find a high quality person. So and you take it seriously. If you just find the closest person to you, law of proximity, and, I don't know, they're a horrible person, or you're not attracted to them, or they don't treat you well, or they don't have the things you're looking for, and you just get with them not to be lonely or, to fill the sexual part, that's a rebound. And so I would encourage everyone, when you do break up, try and learn what it was. Again, write down your preferences with updated, more information, and go look for high quality. And if you find it quickly, I am so happy for you. But people can take, 10 years out of their lives because, they're still recovering from that, traumatic ending, or not taking the right steps to get back out there. So there's a lot of ways to have a healthy breakup and then find the high quality person that you're looking for. And I can definitely go into more detail in any part of this if anyone wants to reach out and message and has more questions. Even grief, like I was saying, I know another person that, from when they were 25, 26 to when they were 38, they just took themselves out of the game because they wanted to just work on themselves and be like the best version of themselves before they're ready to get into a relationship. And that's so many years of someone's life. This person also wants kids, and now they're 38. And hopefully they find someone super quick and super great and everything works out. But I just want you guys to understand that you don't have to take that long to recover from a healthy relationship, as long as you've realized what high quality looks like for you and you go for that. And then, and also, like, if this plays any part in it, being successful and happy and having an amazing partner is also the best form of revenge. If you feel like there's any animosity there, you being happy in the best way is the best thing you can do for yourself and everyone around you. So keep that in mind, and that you can have it all. You can be attracted to someone and then be high quality and all of these things. I wanted to talk about breaks. Some people take breaks in a relationship. Oh, Paymon, I see your request. Paymon, is there anything you wanted to see? I see you came up. Yes.
Okay, thank you for having me. I just wanted tell you something between your tags. Excuse me about it, but it's too much important to know. You know what I'm saying? Some of kind of people can thinking about anything. You know what I'm saying? Kind of people always has a gang to you. I don't know why. This issue problem is what, you know what I'm saying? And you can't that
Paymon, میتونی فارسی بگی and then we can translate for everyone. I go back.
اوکی ببین بعضی از انسان ها عزیز من صدا اوکیه؟
بله.
Your voice is great. Yeah,
okay, thank you very much. ببینید بعضی از انسان ها بچه‌ها این تجربه شخصی خودمه، من نمیدونم، ولی بعضی از آدم، من نمیخوام برچسب رو کسی بزنم خب، ولی بعضی از آدما هیچ جوره تو نمیتونی اینا رو قانع کنی. متوجه چی بهت میگم؟ یعنی همینجور تو ببین همکارای خودمونم الان تو این مثلا وب 3 این اتفاقات همه جا این اتفاقات میفته بین اون مثلا کوچه بازاریام. تجربه‌ایه که تو زندگی خود من، چون به خاطر اینکه من هیچ وقت پول هنرمو نخوردم، من به اصطلاح یه جورایی وارد بازار کارم شدم. متوجه، یعنی این توی همه زمینه‌ها من دیدم این موضوع رو، و اینکه می‌خواستم ببینم به نظر شما راه حلش چیه. ممنون میشم، ببخشید طولانی شد.
Yeah, of course. So if I understood correctly, I think his question relates to, being taken advantage of, and if someone's not willing to change and they're just treating you badly. Payman, just I want to double check. فکر کنی سوالتو درست فهمیدم؟
آره 100%. آره شکی نیست.
Amazing. Of course. So you don't want to be with people like that. And, there might be a lot of people out there, but you definitely don't want to tie your life to people like that once you know they're like that. One thing that helps us figure out if they're those sorts of people is when you tell them that something upset you. For example, you did this behavior, it really upset me. I need this from you to feel better. If they cannot give you what you need to feel better, or they never acknowledge they did anything bad to you, that's not good. That's not showing any growth. And growth is very important in a relationship of any kind. It can be, with your partner, with your family, with your friends, in the workplace. Someone needs to show signs of acknowledging that they've hurt you, they've done something wrong, and take steps to improve. Because that's what you would do. That's what good people would do. And it's important to note that as humans, when someone says something bad about, we've done something wrong, our instinctual reaction is to be like, well, you upset me with this, and deflect it. That's a very human trait that we usually have. But it's important to realize that we need to get beyond that. And if we care about them, we need to acknowledge that we hurt someone. Everybody makes mistakes, and then take the steps to improve it. And if you notice that you have people in your life that don't do that and show no signs of growth, and they're not even trying, then you have to think, what good qualities do they have, and are they worth having around, or are you so much better off with someone else? I personally had to learn this lesson with my own dad. He was very abusive, and so was his family, and we, for 15 years, kept telling him to just take ownership of what he's done, and he could never acknowledge what he did to us. And the first step is acknowledgement, to then apologize, to then work on making things better and growing. But if you can't even acknowledge that you've done something bad, or acknowledge you've hurt someone, there's really no signs of growth. So even though I've specialized in psychology and in behavior and have my master's in it, I can't change anyone who's not willing to change. And I think that's a big understanding I had to come to realize that, okay, he has the choice not to change or want to grow, and I don't have control over him to change him. So for myself, I decided that I don't want like him in my life because of that. And that's a very big decision to make. It's, your biological father, but there was just so much there that, strangers would be treating me so much better. And so I had to make my own decision with that. Everyone can make a different decision, and you can assess people differently. But for me, I made that choice, and I surrounded myself with great people that treat me well and do grow and acknowledge when they do things wrong and treat me so much better. And I'm very, very grateful for that. So good people exist. If someone's not great and they show signs of growth, that's fine. We can definitely work with growth. Nobody is perfect. We can all grow together. That's fine. But if someone's also low quality and showing no growth, there's not much we can do. So sticking around people like that will really bring us down and really hurt us, and can hurt us in so many different ways, not just emotionally. It could be financially, it could be, physically, it can be in all the different ways. So yes, please assess all these things, figure out what you want from people in your life, and if they're not, give them, communicate that to them clearly, say what you need. And if they're not showing signs of growth, then you have to decide what you want to do with that, and if you still want them in your life. Something I want to encourage you guys also to think about. Ooh, Lady Wings, I see your request. Okay, awesome. Yes, I see your hand, Lady Wings.
This is just a random question, but I mean it from my heart. I have been broken for so long. Is there a question or a checklist out there that would like maybe focus? Like when a TV goes out of picture and it goes into 1,000 pixels. My brain does that every once in a while, and I have 500 thoughts where normal people only have one. So I'm just wondering, is there a checklist to double check myself to make sure I'm still on this side of whatever we call reality?
Yeah, so I actually have made a checklist of things that someone can consider. When they're looking for a partner, all the things that someone can consider. That's a good idea to consider. Healthy things people should consider.
Not necessarily looking for a partner, just looking for me. So when I get back to where I know I am, maybe I can have a friend. But until then, I want to make sure I'm okay. Does that make sense? I don't know why I'm telling you this. I'm so not embarrassed, people.
No, it's a good question to have. So with that one, I've never made a checklist for that, for someone to know they're okay. But I think the main thing for that one, just off the top of my head, is if you feel like you're functional that's a good thing. Like, for example, if you feel like it's becoming dysfunctional, where it's affecting
Everything I
your
do,
life.
I'm isolated
Yeah.
and I don't have interaction with humans on the outside. But the manager here has, the only thing that is my fault in a real fast is he's still pretty and walks upright. But he's forced me to live in a closet with no windows in a bathroom for 5 years. And I came here for a 1 bedroom. So I'm losing it as far as the claustrophobia thing, went through the hallucinations. So I kind of just want to double check myself because under normal circumstances, I'd have whipped his butt already, but I digress. But that's not, I want to do this the epitome of classway because I'm not the only one he's been harassing or disrespecting. There's an 82-year-old man that I had to call an ambulance for to pick him up off the ground because this clown walked over him and left him on the ground and I heard him crying. So we need a lot of help here. So I just want to double check myself and I would be forever grateful to you if I trust you. So I would love a checklist if you ever get the time.
Yeah, I appreciate that. If I can formulate these things in terms of a checklist, I'll definitely send them your way. I have the one for checklist for your partner.
I'll
So
do
if
that
anyone,
one too. But I
like,
know it's okay to
yeah,
not be okay, but I've been not okay for so long. I
yeah.
kind of want to just check in with myself because I don't recognize me. Like I said, I used to hit first and ask questions later. My son is the #1 super heavyweight champion in Muay Thai for the United States, #2 in the world right now. So he comes from a fighter, but I've let this man walk and stay pretty. So obviously somebody with a higher powers in control of this, but I would love that. Any questions you could give me so I could recognize myself would be really cool.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I'll work on them, and as soon as I have them, I'll send
I
them your
want to
way.
know
I
who
appreciate.
gutted me like a fish and said, it's okay to just open up your wounds to nobody. I mean, to everybody, because I don't talk to humans in the real world. If people treated me like you guys do, my world would be a great place to be in. But that's not the real
Yeah,
life. But this is going to be because I'm going to take Web3 and Twitter and incorporate it in everybody's life because you guys really do empower me and I love it. Thank you.
of course. I actually have a really good resource for you from someone I know called Starbus, and every morning she actually has a space for about 2 hours where they become family over there, and they have them daily on weekdays. So I'll definitely
I'm in
send.
San
Um,
Francisco, California, and it doesn't matter what time zone because my time is my own. I'm, like I said, locked in the stupid closet.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll send you that. So that's an amazing resource to have, and we'll just keep building your resources and go from there. And thank you so much for, letting us know what you're going through. That's
I don't know
awesome. I think
what your
that's.
pull is, but your energy is so magical. I would have never ever said any of these questions anywhere else, and I do mental health spaces all the time.
Oh, no, it means a lot that you came up. Thank you. Thank you. We're really all
Says a
happy
lot
to
about
have
who
you here.
you are, though. Just saying that.
Thank you. That does really mean a lot. Thank you. No, we all care about each other here, and that's really something that's important to me. So thank you for sharing all that you have. Um, let's quickly go to the last little bits before we jump into some Reddit questions. So one thing that I wanted to highlight is, some people take breaks from a relationship, and maybe things aren't going well, and they say, "Oh, I need a break from you." And what does that mean? No one knows. This is like a classic thing in friends when they have a huge fight over, was it a break? Was it not a break? All of these things. And so I would really encourage people not to take a break. You can figure it out if you need a certain amount of time to cool down. Generally 20 minutes of completely, saying we'll come back, we'll solve this, or maybe we'll just sleep on it and address it tomorrow with a fresh mind. These things are much better than taking a break. In general, obviously this is general advice, but you guys are so much stronger as a team if you can figure it out without taking a break from the relationship. Because also when you take a break, someone else can just slip in and then ruin everything, and then or make everything confusing and make everything so much more complicated than it was before. If you had just taken the harder route but the better route to address it together and figure it out. Another thing that I wanted to highlight is please don't threaten divorce or ending a relationship if you're not going to follow through. It's not a tactic that should be used to make someone do something on a regular basis. It's very traumatic when someone brings that up. So if someone says, or even jokes around like, "Oh, I'll just divorce you if you do that," that's an awful feeling to give someone, even as a joke. So if that's something you do and you think, "Oh, it's not a big deal," please know this is a big deal. We don't want to be threatening ending a relationship because it puts the other person in a mindset where now they're on thin ice and everything they do is now different and they're in a state of anxiety and things like that. So I don't mean be in a terrible relationship and never threaten ending it or never divorce or anything like that if it's awful. Absolutely. When you're feeling not like you're not being treated well, or if one of your deal breakers has been triggered or anything like that, you want to communicate that you're not feeling good in the relationship. This is what you need. Make it crystal clear. Make sure they understand. Tell them to recite it back to you, if you need to put it in writing for them to understand, do all the things you need to do, and say, I need to see the change because this is something that's really important to me, and I need to feel cared for. If these things don't improve, I will feel like you are not taking me seriously, and you're not you are purposely not making me feel loved and not caring for me at all. So make it crystal clear. And if they're not listening and not improving in any way, and you've brought this up multiple times, at that point it's okay to say, hey, look, I've highlighted how important this is to me. I brought it up multiple times. I haven't seen enough growth. We've highlighted how much growth I need to see. If this doesn't change in this time period, I have to review the relationship, or I can't be with someone that is really taking no effort in making me feel more cared for. And then if it gets to that, then you break up, and that's the time you break up, not just I'm not feeling good about you, so I'm going to threaten breakup. No, please don't do that. It's the kiss of death on a relationship. Payman, I see your hand.
بخشید دکتر، من میتونم فارسی بهتون بگم. میخواستم بگم من یه سری از چیزایی که گفتید متوجه شدم الان. میخواستم بگم شما همش راجع به این صحبت میکردید که مثلا ما چه ریاکشنی داشته باشیم برای ریلیشنشیپ. اوکی. و اینکه من میخواستم بدونم چرا همیشه ما باید آخه ببینید مثلا توی زمینه مثلا همین کاری یا مثلا به اصطلاح برای مارکتینگ که الان ما داریم انجام میدیم، میخوام بدونم یه موقعی مثلا الان یکی بیاد از همکارای خودمون بیاد و کار ما رو خراب کنه، مثلا دو سه تا کالکتور اونجا نشسته باشه و اونا تو رو میشناسن، ما همینجا هم دیگه رو میشناسیم و بخوان یه جوری جبهه‌گیری بکنن واسه اینکه شخصیت تو رو زیر منگنه ببرن و یه جورای ترور شخصیتی بکنن. آخه همیشه باید مثلا ما ریلکس باشیم، همیشه باید نفس عمیق بکشیم، همیشه باید بریم بخوابیم. الان وقت حرف زدن نیست. چرا همیشه عیب از ماست؟ دلیل این چیه؟
Yeah. So I'll just translate the question he brought up. So he was highlighting, for example, in a work situation, if we're generalizing this to just relationships, even in the workplace, all of these rules, generally apply to all relationships. So he's saying, what if you're doing the right thing and someone else is, talking bad about you and ruining all the good work to you and telling someone else that, you've not been doing this, you've not been doing that, or stealing the credit, or, doing anything to kind of tarnish your character or what you do you just take it and take a deep breath and kind of let it slide and just keep being the good person you're being, or how do you handle that situation? So that was the question. And my answer to that one is, if you never speak up, then no one will know kind of what you're going through. Even in a relationship, if someone's treating you badly, until you speak up, they may not know for sure. And so, for example, if you have a boss and this person is talking badly about you and you've done the right thing, it's important to feel like you can speak up and tell the truth. You don't necessarily have to put the other person down. You can leave that up to other people, but you can, be sure to be honest with the person that needs to know what is going on for you and what you've done, and then they can make their decision of whatever they think is right. And hopefully your character of, your words matching your actions and being a good person, they can see that, and they can see, this other person is, talking bad about this person and then talking bad about this person and doesn't do much themselves. And then hopefully the other people around you can figure that out. And it's awful if they don't see it and they make the wrong call and they think you're the bad one. But even if that happens, maybe it's for the best, because that was an unhealthy environment where they couldn't even tell you were a good person. Or maybe the boss was also a bad person. So you want to be in a place where they value good people and surround yourself with good people. And you don't have to take it if someone is treating you badly. Please feel like you can speak up and be honest and tell the truth. And good people will take that seriously. And if they don't, then you realize that maybe you're not in the best situation with the best people around you. But yeah, stand up for yourself. I don't think people should just meditate and take it and have people treat them badly. That's not okay. That's not okay. So yeah, hopefully that helps anyone in any sort of situation like that. All right, let's jump into a Reddit question and practice. Awesome, Payman. I see your thumbs up. Oh, good. So let's jump into a Reddit question and practice these skills that we've learned for a healthy breakup if we get to it. So this Reddit question is titled, Boyfriend Doesn't Want to Have Kids, But I Do. And it gives us a bit of background on this one. And it is a 23-year-old female and a 22-year-old male. And the story goes, so me and my boyfriend had a conversation today on the subject of kids. It's an important conversation to bring up and be clear on, and for me at least, I see the relationship as having a huge potential to be very long term, so I thought it would be a good talk to have. My boyfriend mentioned before that he doesn't want kids now, which is completely understandable, as I feel the same way. We're both young and dumb and want to have fun and be selfish to ourselves and not have to worry about a tiny human. However, through this conversation, it transpired that my boyfriend is 99% sure he won't ever want kids, and he told me not to count on a chance of him wanting kids in the future. This for me is kind of where it sucks a little, as I am 99% sure I want kids in the future. I might change my mind in the future, but probably not. I know our difference in wanting to have kids or not have kids isn't a problem specifically for now, but we just don't really know what to do, where to go from here. I don't want to break up, but I don't think it's fair to my boyfriend to count on that 1% chance he'll change his mind, and I won't expect him to ever compromise on such a big decision to make me happy in the future. Any advice? And the summary was, I want kids, but my boyfriend doesn't. Does this mean for our long-term relationship? What does this mean for our long-term relationship? ? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address this problem if they had a friend that came to them with this dilemma? It just happened, and your friend comes to you and saying, oh my gosh, I need advice. What do I do? Does anyone in the audience have any idea of how to handle this situation or what advice to give to their friend? Thumbs up. I like it. Mr. Magic Man, if you can hear me. Oh, Django, I see you. Yes. Django, what do you think?
I'm gonna be very brutal. Bye.
Yeah, do it.
Bye. Demotion. All right. Like we done. Now, am I saying this is gonna be easy?
Oh no, I stopped being able to hear him. I don't know if other people can hear him. Thumbs up if you can hear Django. Thumbs up if you can't hear Django. Oh, okay, no one can hear Django. All right, Django, if you can hear me, your voice cut out. Maybe you turn, a listener and then come back to be a speaker. Yeah, I'll quickly accept your request. Awesome. So we heard, I at least heard. Yes, I heard up to Felicia, and you explaining it further.
Okay. I'm not saying that it'd be an easy decision. And knowing me, I would definitely, even like where I'm at right now, as far as like my understanding of like how, at least how I should be navigating relationships, like even with my understanding and like knowing like the decisions to make, because there's like obvious, because this is kind of how I look at it. There's like the right decision, and then there's your feelings. And the problem is, given it's your partner, that's gonna fuck up the whole thing. And I'm gonna be very honest. I think if you can detach yourself from, so this is kind of what I picture in my head. I picture my feelings as this big white spear of energy, right? And I picture me doing, like, at making actions and making decisions and doing actions based on my feelings as essentially I'm doing something, but then I have like one arm like touching the spear of energy, right? And like when I'm doing that, like my arm is glowing white. And to detach from it would be like I remove my arm from the spear, and then my arm stops glowing and it turns like back to the normal brown color. And so to detach from, if you're able to detach your feelings from your actions, especially with regards to relationships, I feel like it gets way simpler. The problem is I don't know any human's gonna ever completely detach, given the fact that we are not perfect beings and we live in this realm. So like I think realistically, like if you want kids and like it's not gonna be able to like work out, then no, like you have to kind of call it there, as far as making a relationship go further. But like, obviously, like if you're like really attached to this person and like most other stuff is going well, then obviously it's going to be difficult to like pull the plug on that.
Yeah. Before I jump in with what I think, Mr. Magic Man, what do you think?
Yeah, I think honest talk is needed. I think this person was an assumption Ali did. They're like, this person must probably want kids later on too, and then they stepped out of it and they got the cold hard truth. So yeah, it does seem really important to the women in the scenario, and it seems like it might be a deal breaker. So I think they need to have an honest talk, see if there's any kind of compromise by like a certain year or something. If they can't work out, I think it's best they just go their own ways, because they're looking for different things, and to hold someone to something you want when they don't want it, it's not going to result in the best, and it will hold a lot of resentment. So a deep talk might move things forward.
Yeah, awesome stuff. You don't want to be an assumption alley, so it's great she had this conversation, didn't leave it going any longer. And what she found, she was like, oh no, like this is something that can actually break us apart. And so it's really tough when you hit a deal breaker like that. You really like the person, and that's why I always recommend having these hard conversations as early on as possible, like even as like first date, or like when you first start chatting. If something is that important to you, you want to address it at the beginning, so then you're not this attached to them, and have to do these hard things. But for some people that it's difficult, and for example, there's someone right now that I'm helping. They found a very caring, lovely person, but they're not attracted to them at all, but they're super appreciate their company and think that they're an amazing person. And they've kind of ended up being in this situation for a year and a half, and now one of them is like, I can't wait forever, I want kids. And then the other one is like, wait, like I never thought of you that way, I didn't want kids. And like, I don't know, like they would never want kids with the other person. And so now they have to actually have this figure this out for themselves, and it's not easy for them to figure out. It's it might to us seem easier, but to them it's really hard. And so one of the things I do for them to kind of bring out all their feelings and address them head on is to think of all the different options that someone has. All the decisions you make, let's put them on the table, let's think about it. And that really helps simplify the situation. So let's say they want kids and you don't. Let's say you have kids with them. Now let's fast forward 20 years in the future. How happy do you think you would be? And you should also take into consideration that, what if the kid isn't healthy, or what if it takes a really long time for them to get pregnant, or if they want IVF? Like the best scenario is that they have a healthy kid. And so how happy would you be in that situation? Let's say, they can still let you be spontaneous, for example. Does that help the situation in any way? How happy would you be if you had a kid and you still could have the lifestyle that you wanted, for example? Or the reverse, like what if they didn't have kids, and you're not attracted to them, but you still went ahead? How happy would you be in 20 years? And kind of go through every single option you can think of, and then at the end think, what do you think are the chances of being able to find someone that is both attractive to you and is also a high quality person with a great personality who treats you well? And so what percentage do you think that is of happiness if you find that? And how likely do you think it is to find that? And then, usually going through all of these different scenarios really helps you understand what you want out of life. And the way that this one has been described, and I know I'm in Assumption Alley, but from how they've said it, they both really want kids and don't want kids. And it doesn't seem like it's going to change in this scenario from what they've written down, what this one person has written down. So it doesn't seem like there's a compromise for these two besides breaking up. And the longer they prolong it, it's just the more messy and complicated it gets, and you're not all in anymore. And so that can cause a lot of complications. So it's really tough, but once you're figuring all this out, like have an honest conversation with your partner, just like Django and Mr. Magic Man was saying. Hash it all out, get all your feelings out on both sides, and then make the best decision for you. But it seems like a decision needs to be made pretty soon, because this is something that's really important. So, and then you take the steps of, going through, a healthy breakup, and then figuring out that, okay, now I realize I really want kids. It's super important to me. It's not something I'm willing to negotiate on. I'm going to find someone who is great and also has that, and I'll address that at the beginning. And if you can find someone quickly who's high quality and has those things, go for it. That's ideal. So, and then, you want to kind of be able to cut this person off in general. So then you can have a clean slate and kind of start fresh with a new person. So those are generally, healthy ways of addressing a breakup. Let's kind of change the situation a bit and kind of address another point. So this is a 25-year-old female and a 25-year-old male. My boyfriend had sex with me when I said no and is acting normal. Is this a deal breaker? This question could also be the same for violence. For example, one person, I know someone in the last few weeks who was physically abused. And, he was this really big guy, and he was abused by his girlfriend physically. He could be asking the same question, for example. So what do you think in a situation like that where it could be, maybe some rape involved or maybe some physical violence involved? Django, I see your hand. Go for it.
If forget the genders, if you don't want to have sex and your partner forcefully comes on to you, that is rape. Like that. It just is, because like I don't know. Like I think there is. Obviously, I think they don't. I'm not gonna say that. Obviously, I don't think society takes men getting raped as seriously as women getting raped, but I also don't think society takes women getting raped seriously. So like, like basically both sides are equally bad. And if your partner forcibly comes on to you and you say no, and they say, "Nah, fuck you, I'm on this," like it's rape. Like that's a super deal breaker. Like, and quite frankly, if you're super sexual and your partner is not that sexual, you better talk about getting an open relationship. Or really, why didn't you vet the girl or man or person for a long enough period of time to realize that that's how they are? Like this is why I don't want to just make anybody my partner after like 2 minutes or 2 months or even 6 months. Like I need to see. This is just me. I need to see how you are. I need to see how you are, and that takes time. So I'm not just going to give you the label, because if we do that, we can avoid future situations like this, where you got one person who's really horny and aggressive about it, and the other person who's just not, who's like on the opposite side of that spectrum. And it's like, oh, this was so horrible. This is terrible. How could we have possibly avoided this? By better understanding of yourself, what your needs are, and realizing what's in front of you that they can't give you that. So why are you making that person your significant other? That's just how I feel. I am a victim of sexual assault. Um, like I'm okay about it. Like I'm not afraid to talk about it and whatnot. But like it's not okay. Like it's just not. It's really just not okay. So it's definitely a deal breaker for me. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, thank you so much for your beautiful words that you shared with everyone. I think that's so powerful for everyone in the room to have heard, and I feel so honored that you felt like you could, share your point of view on this one, because it's so valuable, so valuable. And one thing that you brought up, which is so good, is and this is something that I address with people getting into relationships at the very beginning. I ask them, libido levels can be different in marriage, and so what is the frequency of sex that you would appreciate in a marriage?
I got some thoughts on that real quick.
Go
If
for
your
it.
wife's sex drive all of a sudden super drops down the moment you put a ring on it, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna keep it 100% with you right now. Shorty did not like you. It was never that I wanted the label or something. Like I'm just saying. Like I don't know about you, but to me it sounds kind of crazy that things were smooth sailing and then you got married and all of a sudden you have a sexless marriage. Like that makes no sense to me. What? Like, huh? Like, can someone explain that to me? Because I'm young, I'm dumb, I don't know everything in this world. So someone please explain that to me. Because how are you going from doing your thing to you ask her maybe once a month and she's like, fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I couldn't imagine marrying someone who wasn't excited. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it's a great question again. And so there are people that would be the same after, marriage or a ring. And it's important. And obviously, there's no guarantee, at any point, you're still taking a leap of faith. But if you ask, like, for example, if I ask someone, what is the frequency that you think you would appreciate sex, after marriage? And they tell me, I don't know, once a day or something. And someone else says, oh, I don't know, whenever I feel like it, or it's going to slow down after marriage, or I don't know, once a week or once a month, or, I don't know, any of those answers, it's very clear that the first person is more likely to appreciate sex and have a higher libido than the other person. So it's a really, really good idea to ask this stuff at the beginning and ask them. And, some people answer this question with, at the beginning, it would be this much, and then later on, it would be this much. Some people literally say that and they're upfront. And so we're not in Assumption Alley if we ask directly and they answer honestly and directly too. So yeah, you can even ask, if they give you one answer, you can be like, what about it, early on in the relationship? And then what about later on in the relationship? Like, for example, after you get the ring, do you see it slowing down at all? Or it's really good to talk about these things, engage as soon as possible if this is something that's important to you. And yeah, just have as much information up front, so then you can have a better idea of what's going to go on later on, and you can decide if you're with the right person as quickly as possible. And some people really do have a low libido drive, and that's okay, but it's better if they find someone that's similar to them, and then they don't have to have conflict over something like that, because
People can have whatever they want. Just
yeah,
because you got herpes don't mean I gotta get it too. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
true.
Like,
Yep.
you find the people, find your tribe of folks. The low libido people should be with the low libido people. The high libido people should be with the high libido people. And this, that, and the third, and all that stuff. I mean, like once again, maybe I have maybe I'm young and I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna really be honest, and maybe this is even like some form of projection, and I think it could be. Although I'm not married, but like I've definitely been in like some weird relationships with people. Like if you're with somebody, and really it goes back, if you're with somebody and like you have a need or a strong desire or whatever the hell people call it these days, things they want, and you have a partner that very clearly cannot fulfill that, and like that is like one of your like essentials. Why are you there? It's like, for example, I don't know, I got a BMW, but it only got two front wheels. Like what? Like, yo.
Yeah, that's a great one. Django, I think you know more than you give yourself credit for. I think you're right. Like if you realize something's really important to you and it's not there, then you're kind of wasting your time with that person. And it's better off you be with someone that has all the things you want and spend your time looking for that person than wasting your time with this other person. And I think a lot of people fall into that because it's comfortable. It's more comfortable to stay in a relationship and not have to go out there and look and, kind of start fresh again. But it's so valuable to realize that you need to figure out what you want and then go after the things you want, and don't compromise. And you talked about similarity in libido levels. Yeah, similarity is great. And just how I explained the law of proximity, of how naturally people fall for people that are closest to them physically and that they frequently interact with. So that's why we fall for people in our school or our workplace or things like that. But it doesn't mean we're falling for quality. We're falling for proximity. There's another equal law that's called the law of similarity. And so the more similar you are in as many ways as possible, especially the ways that are important, the more likely you are to be happy and your relationship to last. And so that even means down to similarity in libido levels, because some people's hesitation with this kind of research they found is, oh, but I don't want someone that's exactly like me. I want someone to push me. I want someone to be different to me. And what they found is, well, no two people are the same. So there's going to be differences no matter how hard you try. You can't avoid that. No two humans can avoid that. Even identical twins are going to have differences. So you're going to have differences, but you're going to have less differences because you have more in common and you already understand each other, and you have less time that you're arguing and more time that you're having fun together. And that positive interaction ratio in comparison to the negative interaction is so much more strongly positive, which is what is needed for a healthy relationship. So the magic ratio is for every one negative interaction, you have 5 positive interactions. And so it's so valuable to hold on to that. And the more similarities you have, the stronger your ratio usually is, because you're not spending time arguing. You're already getting along in a lot of ways, and you just work out your little differences. So yeah, if libido is important and there's a difference there, please address that early on. I have a list that I've created of all the things someone can consider, to figure out what they want in a partner. If anyone wants that, just feel free to message me for the list and I'll send it to you, and you can, write it down at your own pace and see what is important to you and what's not, and make sure that you end up with a high quality person. So yeah, thank you so much for your amazing input, guys. Is there anything else you guys wanted to say before we wrap up for today? Awesome. Love hearts. Beautiful. Okay, well, it was an honor having you guys. Thank you for your amazing input. I had one of my brothers, when he was a guest host, he would come on and he introduced this thing of the MVP, and I think it was the most valuable floor manager. And so I'll carry on that tradition. And I have to give the award to Django tonight. I felt like you brought so much value to the space. You brought a lot of wisdom. You opened up about some amazing things. And I think everybody, is so grateful for all of your contributions. So MVFP of the night, thank you so much. I wish you all an amazing week, and all of you the love life of your dreams. And I'll catch you next week. Have a great week, guys. Bye, everyone.